Governments around the world are introducing more lockdown measures and banning events around New Year's Eve, and ordinary people who are pro common sense are fighting back in a beautiful way. People don't give up. We never give up. We never surrender. And it's not just for the sake of it. It's not for some sort of trivial freedom thing. It matters. Facts matter. Logic matters. And science matters. Now, speaking of science, somebody has to tell that to the Dutch government. These people have not really understood, they still don't understand, that certain policies, you don't even have to be an actual scientist to understand the precedent and the result of, for example, certain types of lockdown. You got local lockdowns, you got measures, health measures, then you got national lockdowns. Now, national lockdowns as a temporary panicking measure, like in March 2022, is one thing. And if it's supposed to be 3 weeks to protect your NHS, and doing it on a regular basis, every 10 minutes, every time a case is created, is different. Now, these guys have decided to ban New Year's Eve. And in the Netherlands, specifically Amsterdam, people have decided to fight back. And watch this. Do you know why this happened? Not just because it was New Year's Eve, of course you will organize your fireworks. It was this big because the government said you can't do it. Now every year, of course people do the same thing, but it was never as big as this. But this time, if you tell people not to do something, you know what they're going to do? They're going to actually do it. They're not going to listen to you. Now this was happening because, that happened a couple of nights ago on New Year's Eve, the police decided to, the next day, prepare for more. Yesterday we had in the streets of Amsterdam huge police presence, and this actually resulted in provoking people again to bring them out again. So more people came out on the streets of Amsterdam and some other towns and cities around the Netherlands, and also, of course, I know some of you are going to remind me, there were definitely also mass gatherings in Italy and parts of Germany in the north, and many other places as well. And that's not going to stop, because the more you're going to do illogical policies, unless you explain to people with facts and evidence and in a very reasonable way, we're not going to understand. We're not going to understand why you're going against your own scientific data. The same so-called scientific data that you've been using against us is now saying that things are fine. And in terms of the immunity, again, I'm not going to get into scientific debate about it again, because my job is to make sure that, firstly, I, as an alternative media outlet, give a voice to these people, whether they're Dutch or British or Italian, because no one else you can hear about this really on the main channels. And also, just to make sure that we have a reasonable debate, whether you're pro or anti. It's time. It's been 2 years. It's going to be almost over 2 years now. It's time to have a reasonable debate and stop listening to the establishment just because they are the establishment. If you agree with me, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell next to it. I'm going to come back with one more update for you guys in a minute. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.